Welcome to Azure Knowledge Center. Today we will be talking about proximity placement groups. In the prior video, we have seen Azure has regions, availability zones, and availability sets. These are designed to support high availability and disaster recovery scenarios. For example, availability zones provides 4 nines of availability and availability sets provide 3 nines of availability. When deploying your applications in Azure, spreading your IaaS resources across Azure regions or availability zones creates network latency, which may impact the overall performance of your application. For example, if you place the virtual machines in a single region, that reduces the latency or physical distance between the instances. If you place the virtual machines across the availability zones, it further reduces the latency. If you place all of them in the single availability zone, it will further bring down the distance closer. However, as the Azure footprint grows, a single availability zone may span multiple physical data centers, which may result in network latency impacting your application. A proximity placement group is an Azure virtual machine logical grouping capability that you can use to decrease the inter-VM network latency that's associated with your applications. When the VMs are deployed within the same proximity placement group, they are physically located as close as possible to each other. Proximity placement groups are particularly useful to address the requirements of latency sensitive workloads. You could deploy your virtual machines in a proximity placement group. You can do the same for virtual machine scale sets. You can even deploy availability set within a proximity placement group. Should I care? Well, we should care if your application demands low latency between standalone VMs, virtual machine scale set VMs, or the VMs that are part of an availability set. You could also have a scenario where you could have a 2 or 3 tier application, like web tier, application tier, database tier with the different hardware types. So having them in a proximity placement group will certainly address the low latency requirements. There are some Azure resources like Azure Shared Disks for clustered applications, SQL Always On Clustering, or some of the SAP workloads uh, are already deployed as part of in proximity placement groups. So how do we deploy virtual machines in a proximity placement group? It's very simple. We just create a resource group, create a proximity placement group. Then we create these virtual machines and associate that with the proximity placement group. It's that simple. You could deploy these from Azure Portal, PowerShell, and Azure CLI. This demo, I'm just showing it to you from the Azure CLI. And once the VMs are deployed, you can query the virtual machines and see if they are indeed placed in the same proximity placement group. And finally, we can do a ping test, just to check the latency with or without the proximity placement group. Let's head over to my Azure portal. If you could see here, I have a resource group, and then I have a proximity placement group that I have created 2 virtual machines, VM1 and VM2. They are part of the same resource group, same proximity placement group, as you see it here. Now let's SSH into those virtual machines. I SSHed into VM1 and VM2. So let's do a quick ping test. Um, so I'm pinging here VM2, and from VM2 I'm pinging VM1. This may not be the real test that you'll be doing, but as you could see, the latency is in milliseconds. That's really a good response times, and obviously this needs to be tested with the real application. So that's it for now. That's what I want to demonstrate in this video. I'll see you guys um, in the next video. Thank you.